Hi, my name is Ben and I'm one of the directors at the Foundry, and I've written this strength series for you for the Falklands Ultra marathon runners. This is the first program that I'll write. There'll be a series across the year, and this is the second program within that first series. So as I did with the first video, I'm going to talk through some of the exercises you may not understand how I've written them or you may not have seen before, and then the other stuff that you think you've got a grasp on, you can just confirm via some videos on YouTube. Okay, so to begin with, I'm going to talk through the mobility stuff, then the warm-up, and then a couple of the bits that you may not have seen before. Okay, so within the mobility program, we're going to start with a cat-cow. So with the cat-cow, we need to be in this quadrupedal position. So on all four points of contact, knees and hands stacked under the shoulders, knees stacked under our hips. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the pelvis. We're going to tuck in into a posterior pelvic tilt, and we're going to move one vertebrae at a time all the way up, stretching, rounding out through our thoracic spine, pushing our shoulder blades wide apart like they've had an argument, and tucking our chin to chest. When we're in this tall position, this angry cat, we're going to start untucking from the pelvis, one vertebrae at a time, segmenting our spine, dropping our chest to the floor, squeezing shoulder blades together, and lifting our head up. So that's one full rep, okay? Rounding, tucking, spreading, pushing into that angry cat, tucking the chin in, and then untucking our pelvis, one vertebrae at a time, winding our wrists in toward each other, squeezing our shoulder blades together, and lifting our head up. So that's the cat-cow, guys. Obviously, you can do for the given rep range. Next one we're going to do is a 90-90 hip drill, okay? So this is a mobility drill for our hips. So I want you to be sat on your bottom, soles of your feet flat on the floor, and we're going to drop our knees to the one side so that our knee comes in behind our heel. Okay, keep your feet in the same position, and then rotate left and right. You might feel a few crunchy bits in the hips here if you have poor hip mobility, and if you struggle to sit up straight without using your hands, then pop your hands behind you, no problem. And then as you get more mobile and find these a little bit easier, we can make them a bit harder and progress that on. Okay, the next one is a scapular car, okay? So the scapula are those pork chop shaped bones on the back of your body. They glide across your rib cage, okay? And they often get gunked up if you spend a lot of time in front of the computer in that protracted position. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our arms nice and long, like two long pistons, and we're going to work through the four ranges of motion that your scapula work through. So we're going to work protraction first, so pushing them wide apart from each other like they've had a row. Then elevation, bringing them up into our ears. Then retraction, squeezing them tight together. And then depression, dropping them into our back pockets. So I want you to imagine you're holding a steering wheel when you do that, like you've got road rage, radiate tension into that steering wheel, and work through those four ranges of movement. What we're going to do then is we're going to reverse that. So we're going to go depression, retraction, elevation, and protraction, and take them through the full range on the way back as well. Okay, last one on the mobility series. We're going to work through a squat to stand with a thoracic mobilization as well, a thoracic rotation. So we're going to sit down into our deepest squat position. Believe it or not, that is mine. Hopefully you can sit lower. Going to take your left hand, hold on the inside of your left ankle, long arm bracing it against the inside of the left knee. From here, with our right arm, we're going to rotate towards the roof in the thoracic rotation. We're going to come down, we're going to change hands, and then we're going to switch onto the other side. Once we've done that, we're going to stand up, and then we're going to repeat for the given rep range. So every rep, you sit down, hold on tight, rotate one side, rotate the other side, then stand up. Okay, the next one we're going to do some stuff within a frontal plane. So everything usually that gets done within a gym happens in a sagittal plane, okay? So it's things that you can see from the side, hinging, squatting, pressing, all sagittal plane movements. What we're going to do is we're going to put some frontal plane movements in for you, because obviously we're running offline sometimes on these ultras, so we need to be prepared to move left and right. So we're going to work a lateral lunge with a thoracic opener, so we're going to try and kill two birds with one stone. So we're going to mobilize our hip, dropping into that lateral lunge, pushing our bottom back toward our heel, and then a thoracic Y, lifting those hands out nice and wide. I'll show you one more. As we drop in, thoracic opener. Because we're in that bottom position of our squat, it should be quite hard to get into that extended Y position unless you've got really good mobility, so work on that. Okay, the next one is a star side plank. So you've probably seen a side plank before, and you've probably seen people do them from their feet. My preference is that we do them with a bent leg on the bottom. So we're bracing from our knee, one joint in closer to our hip, so it's looking after our knee joint. Stack your elbow directly underneath your shoulder, bridge your hips high into extension, and then stretch that leg out into a star and hold this hand above your head. Now I'm promoting my hips forward and elevating them as high as I can into that sort of laterally flexed position or laterally extended position. And we're going to hold for the given time on this one, okay? If you want to make it harder, you can go to your foot in an extended position on the bottom leg. My preference is it's a bit safer off your knee though. Okay, last one on the warm-up series, we're going to work through some calf raises, okay? So this is an ankle mobility drill, but it's also going to warm your calves up, something which is really important. when we have that repeated flexion and extension of our ankles from all the running you'll be doing. So I need you to find a box. We need to use both feet to stand on top of the box, and we're going to push up with 2 feet, and then we're going to control down with 1. Okay, control all the way down. Heel must pass below the level of your toes, then use 2 feet to come back up again and control back down. So again, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We're mobilizing the ankle, we're stretching the calf off at the same time in preparation for what's about to come. Okay, so in the program, you may have seen I've written an FFE split squat. That means it's a front foot elevated split squat. So it's the best way to allow us more range into our split squat when we do it. Whenever we're doing a split squat or a lunge, we need to make sure that our feet are on a train track, not on a tightrope, okay? So we don't want our feet one behind each other like this. We want to have them in a wide base in a train track position so we're nice and balanced. For the front foot elevated split squat, you're going to need a step. You're going to pop your front foot onto the step. You're going to take an average stride length backward, making sure our feet are on those train tracks, and we want our hips and torso to be moving on an escalator, not an elevator. So we don't want to go up and down straight. We want to achieve forward movement as we go down. So dumbbells in hands or with a barbell on your back or in a front rack position, we're going to descend into bottom position, trying to get our knee as far forward over our toe as possible, allowing our hamstrings to cover our calf, keeping our torso nice and tall. From that position, we're going to push back up. So controlled, forward and down on the escalator, back and up on that escalator. Well done. Okay, so the next one that we're going to do is a half kneeling Pallof press, which you might not understand. So a Pallof press is an anti-rotation drill, and for this you're going to need a band attached to an anchor point, possibly on the side of a rack or on the side of a machine. What I want you to do is I want you to come down to a kneeling position, and I want the knee that's closest inside to that anchor point to be on the floor. You're going to pull your hands across to in line with your sternum, and then you're going to push your hands out. Now, what's happening here is I'm in a weak position because I've got long extended levers, and this band is trying to force rotation, and I'm working anti-rotation. I'm trying to hold onto this position as long as I can for the given rep range, okay? So the thicker the band, obviously the harder the exercise, or you can get further away from that point to make it harder. The last exercise that you may not understand that I've written on the program is a terminal knee extension, a TKE. So you'll need the band for this again, and what we're going to do is we're going to double the band up and we're going to pop our leg through the band. Now the muscle we're looking to activate with this movement is our vastus medialis oblique, and that's that teardrop shaped muscle on just above your kneecap, and this muscle adds loads of stability to your knee, so it's super important for runners to get this one right. Your VMO, your vastus medialis oblique, is engaged most in the first and last 15 degrees of flexion and extension. So when we're first bending our leg and then when we're locking it out in this position, okay? So for what we're going to do, we're going to come onto our tiptoe, about a 15-degree bend at our knee, and then we're going to lock our leg straight. Now you'll notice I've put quite a high rep range on this because it's a very small muscle group, that VMO, so we need to work it in a high rep range. You should get quite a lot of lactic burn when you're doing that, and a free epilation on your hair with the band. Guys, that's all the exercises on this second program. Like I said in the first video, if you don't understand anything, have a look on YouTube. Most of the stuff you'll find on there with a quick search. But if you need any more help, do email me, ben@foundryfit.com, or check us out on Instagram @foundryfit.